Hey guys, it's ViewMasters Reactions, and we're back with Campaign 2, Episode 34, Talks Machina, Encroaching Waters, where we ended the entire episode on a cliffhanger. We're in the middle of a battle. I did go back and I rewatched the last 10 minutes. We had a lot of beverages. I was drinking pumpkin ales, and we were smoking and having a good time. I thought, how did I miss something so obvious? We were talking at the end, and I'm like, did they actually say for sure if Algar's hand was severed? It was so quick at the end when I went back and watched. I'm like, how did I miss that? We were so amped up, or at least I was. I was so fueled with energy drinks and booze that I was freaking out about the act that they might do it. Travis at first was going back and forth. He's like, no, I just take the bracelet off. You know what? I cut his hand off. Matt said for sheer, whatever, just the enjoyment of a roll, I guess. Let's see what you get. He gets a 21. The water slices like a razor and cuts off Algar's hand. It was said very quickly, though. It says a water razor goes through, the hand is severed, falls to the ground. Jundi turns around. The bracelet slips off his wrist. That's where I miss something. I saw the water razor, and then I heard the bracelet slides off the wrist. So I was like, did he not tell us that it got severed and we're supposed to just imagine that it slides off the wrist because it did get severed? I was assuming because Travis said so and Matt basically said you cut his hand off but roll anyway. I thought he didn't exactly say it, but it then immediately ended. Jundi turns around and he goes limp with the trident, and then we ended the episode. So it wasn't like I had time to simmer and think about it. It happened all so quick. And like I said, we were talking, we were having a good old time. I assumed his hand got cut off. I just missed the line that Matt spoke because everyone was freaking out. I'm also trying to see the faces of the people. I wasn't for sure if Travis was going to actually try to cut the hand off or try to be nice. Jester was like, no, don't cut his hand off. But we have the Talks Machina episode. I saw Laura was one of the people. I didn't see who the other person was. I was getting to this to stop it so we could progress, and I saw Laura Bailey. That's awesome because she should have been in the last one, but she was ill, and we're going to jump in. I'm also going to do all of the after hours in one day. Today is the 4th episode. I haven't watched any of them, so you'll see me in the same shirt, run through all of them, and we'll get that out later this week. You guys want to see more of what I do, full unedited episodes, all the shows on the channel, seasons out of what you're seeing, hundreds of exclusives you only see on Patreon. The link is at the end, dozens of shows you'll never see on YouTube. I just don't have time to edit it all. Doctor Who, Person of Interest, the Hour Patreon exclusive for these, along with bonus stuff. We're going to do Vox Machina in a couple months, Season 2. Check it out. If not, Campaign 2, Episode 34, Talks Machina. Oh my God. I feel like I'm redlining.
I'm here with
Let's do that.
Same guests as before that graphic was on the screen.
Matt Mercer. What is that? What is that? Is that not?
That's Kiri. That's what she sounds like.
Yeah.
Oh my God, is that a little Kiri?
Guys, we have some crit roll stats for this episode.
Oh my God, it's adorable. You guys told me there was little Kiris.
Crit roll stats.
I don't think I've ever seen it.
Jester has dealt. That's you. Has dealt over 600 points of damage so far in the campaign.
I saw the green float, and I was like, is that not?
Okay.
Yeah.
She also cast Cure Wounds 40 times.
That's a lot.
That's a lot.
People say I don't heal.
That's a lot.
I mean,
That's like
once an episode,
that's like
maybe.
once an episode.
Matthew. Yeah. That's once
Matthew.
a damn episode.
Look, girl, I'm
Think
just
about
happy.
how many times.
I'm just happy you're healing.
Yeah.
You're like an
great.
AFK Zenyatta who just every once in a while is like.
I feel like
and then
in a
back,
typical
you know,
raid in
that's
WoW,
it.
you'd be healing 40 times. In
She
like
has no
one
idea what
raid.
we're talking about because she doesn't
That's
play Overwatch.
that's like saying
Somebody just picked Mercy.
I'm a
and you're like,
barbarian that
all right.
attacks once
DPS
an
Zenyatta.
episode.
You're Mercy who just uses her taser gun the whole time. Hey, but here's some other stuff to make you
then
feel
again, we
better.
don't get into fights
And
every
you've
episode,
used,
so.
in addition to Cure Wounds 40 times, Blessing of the Trickster. How many times do you think you've used Blessing
8.
of the Trickster?
I don't hear that often. 8.
18 times.
Close. 26 times.
Whoa, that many.
That's pretty cool.
Oh my
What
God,
was that
I
one
am
do again?
thinking, yeah, that was a dumb guess, Joe.
Gives them an
That was a dumb
advantage
guess.
on stealth checks.
Even
Not
though I don't
me,
hear it
I can't use
often,
it
in the
on myself,
beginning
only
we
on
probably
other
used it a
people.
lot. I haven't heard it often
That's cool.
recently.
And Matt announced his 40th natural 20 of the campaign on this episode.
Oh, I'm so happy. I mean,
Congratulations.
you're welcome.
was a great
That's okay.
announcement.
You got someone in the party now that can just
I
tell
feel
me
like
to
that
fuck
was
off
a
when that happens
Robin
occasionally,
Williams
so that's
reference
great.
or something.
It's pretty great. Grave players.
Beautiful thing.
No joke, man.
How many
That's
of
something. I
these
feel like that's
40
something.
referenced were the golden snitch?
Oh my God.
I mean, you probably don't know a certain number, but does that one roll 20 a lot since it's become in your possession?
Honestly,
golden snitch.
I think the snitch, as much as I like to build the mystique, I think it has to be in Talson's hands to be magical because
Really?
it rolls about as
whatever.
much as everything else.
I
Like,
can think of a lot of things that have to be in Talison's hands to become magical.
well, you and me both. Yeah, like
I
Marisha
looked
got me
at
new
you
circuits
guys
Gen
when
Con,
he
so I'm
looked at
using that
me,
one
so
more
I
often,
didn't
which
see
has
him
been
look
nice.
at me until I
It's made
looked
of
away.
lapis
That was
lazuli.
good.
It's really pretty, like stone one. It was like a really, like she dropped that as a present and a gift for like post Gen Con. So I've been using that one, and it's about the same. So the snitch apparently isn't just a magical
golden snitch.
snitch.
I still feel like it's
a
red line.
yeah, it's a conflux of two magical
I'm gonna
entities
drop it to
together
a
that
4.
creates
Well, isn't it
the
like
majesty.
if you're not a paladin
Different
wielding the
shows
Holy Avenger, it's
have
just a
different
sword.
levels.
Oh, yeah, that's a great point.
Yeah, you have,
Look
you
at
have
that
to be
little Kiri.
disinteresting.
You
to roll
guys
that
told
many
me they
20s.
used to have a Kiri plush. I didn't see it on the
you
site
have to
when
be
I
the
looked.
most interesting man in the world
It's true.
to use the golden snitch properly.
What just happened?
You know what happened? We just turned into Weird Al in the Beverly Hillbillies video.
We
when
did.
Can't find the camera.
Yep. He's
Yes,
like, where is
it was
it?
skipping all
Deep cut
over.
Where is it?
reference.
I
Hope you guys like
appreciate it,
UHF.
though.
Anyway,
All right.
Love you, HF.
it's such a good movie. I saw it in theaters when I was a kid.
Specialist City.
Specialist
What better way to
City,
say I
UHF.
love
Oh my
you? Sorry,
God.
anyway.
Specialist City, Specialist
It's a great movie.
City.
should watch it.
It deserves a lot more
Little bird looks
appreciation.
so
than it is.
cute between
Does
the
it?
two of you.
I have seen UHF
Guys, we have questions.
easily
What are you
100
doing?
Yeah, we should
times.
talk
I
about
could
it.
Sticking
quote
around
that
and answer my
movie
questions.
endlessly.
Vishante Kaffis is the first question. Who did the best job? This is for both of you. Who did the best job playing someone else last week?
This is an honor
Max
of 4.
playing a long-haired Emmy Award-winning Sam, or Marisha Bowe playing
bracelet
Tracy?
strike.
Oh, that's a really tough call.
I mean, Max, you were great. You were fantastic.
Your Sam voice was so good,
On point. So it's hard for me to pick.
but you're married
Max
to one
was
of them.
fantastic as Sam Riegel.
Yeah. I honestly didn't know who was Sam and who was Max at the time.
I'm kind of at the point now where if Sam doesn't get here like within 5 minutes of starting, he's just out. from
He's
now
been
on.
much better this campaign.
I know.
He really
I'm
has.
sorry, Max.
10 minutes early.
Yeah.
I'm trying.
That's because
I
I'm
feel
not
like
gonna
I
give
still
away
haven't
the location
seen
of our
Max
studio, but it's at Sam's
long
house
enough
now.
to remember what his
So
face
that was
looks
part
like.
of our
I
thing.
feel like they've
So the
shown
fact
him
that
once
he
or
shows
twice,
up
but before
8 minutes early now
I knew
instead
he was
of
Max.
5, not that great of an
And now
achievement.
he's talked about
But
constantly.
yes,
Like Danny.
Marisha's
Danny's got the
Tracy
Danny
was
cam.
fantastic.
I wondered for a long while
Really
what Danny
good.
looked like.
Yeah.
Like her laugh, I was like, I'm so creeped out right
I
now. by
know.
that.
We talked about it when we got home after the episode. I was like, where did that come from? And she was like, and I'm sure she'll talk about it next time she's on here, but she was like, yeah, I mean, Bo is channeling all the women that she couldn't stand growing up back home. And I was like, yeah, no, that makes sense, you know, based on her history and the general personality.
So she grew up with the cast of The Hills?
Apparently,
The Hills.
Camorda is kind of like
My
the OC.
sister right now is rewatching Laguna Beach. If you remember that one, that's like a throwback with the Hills. Wasn't the Hills
Yeah, I
based
mean,
off of
her
Laguna
family
Beach
was a
or
little
something?
closer.
I
in
feel like
ability,
a lot
but,
of those
I mean,
shows
at least
connected
in
in
the-
ways.
Anyway,
Yeah. It was fantastic.
Let's reveal
Yeah.
Marisha's backstory while she's
I'm not going to
here.
reveal anything. Let's
do it.
I'm making sure not to.
I can pull it up here. I can pull it up here on the
Did you
writers
know
database.
That I had access to your profile, that I had access to your account that one time.
No.
So yeah, when we did
The one
shot, I went to
iPad.
log into my thing and it was logged into your account for some reason.
Oh.
And I had all of like your character sheets for the NPCs.
It's because I was
Well, to be fair,
transferring
all the
money.
character sheets that I had built on there were one-shots I did for other events. They weren't actual NPCs from the campaign.
No, there were some that I saw that I knew. Damn it.
Jester was,
Well,
Laura,
her
she was
emotions
probably
guarded.
going to say, don't worry, I
There's
didn't
only,
look.
one
And then
thing
she
to
had
do
to
about
prove her
that.
point. And it's like, I
We need one of
looked.
those Men in Black devices.
She had to
to
sell
wipe
herself
away.
out to prove it. No, I know, because I did look.
Laura.
Yes.
I would have been
Caroline
like,
the
don't
Geek has
worry.
a question
I didn't
for
want
you
to
that
spoil
sounds
anything.
a
I
little
didn't
bit
look.
like this.
Oh, wait. You didn't think they were in there? I
Since the way
saw.
I'm
I did
talking
look.
tonight. What did it feel like to get to introduce everyone to the Ruby? How much input did you have in her design and concept?
Ooh,
Into my kombucha.
like in Ruby's design, I pretty much. I mean,
Yeah,
I
we never
probably
got to
wrote
talk
more
to
about
Laura
the Ruby
about
in my
Ruby.
backstory than I did about myself, didn't I?
A little bit, yeah.
Wow, that's interesting.
I was like, oh my gosh, and then this happened, and this happened.
just
Yeah,
a
so I
little
had
short.
like this whole vision of the Ruby in my head, and it was so awesome to then hand that over to you and see what else, because you just fleshed it out so completely.
Well, here's the thing. You built a character who is so, their world was centered around a living parent, and that's such a rare thing in Dungeons and Dragons.
Yeah, right.
And I'm like, let me dig in and make this
Right.
this one rare moment important to me.
And
But,
my
yeah.
whole backstory was written from Jester's perspective, you know, so everything I said about the Ruby was how Jester felt about her.
Yeah, and you know, there's that DM mind that's always like, how can I subvert this? How can I turn it on the player? But like, I didn't see that in the character. The way
Yeah.
you'd written the Ruby and the way that you presented Jester's personality and everything, and the way that I kind of wanted to play that character, I was like, no, this you've already set me up with this great ideal of a motherly character, and I hope I did it justice. So.
I was so afraid that you were gonna turn her like mean or something, and like say that Jester was like imagining her a certain way, and then she wasn't. And
That's
so when we
what
showed
I
up and she was
thought.
so nice, I was
Most
like,
of the time,
she's
I've
the
told you
most
guys,
wonderful
I
mother.
thought it was going to
so
be a
great.
variation,
That
but
been
like
hackneyed.
a greatly embellished.
There's only so much you can be like, oh, cool, you had a happy backstory. Fuck you.
That's what I thought we were going to get there, and she was going to be like ragged
myself.
and not very
happy
high.
backstory is almost a oxymoron nowadays.
Yeah,
but she
and it's
was
not
what
entirely
Jester
happy,
said.
you know.
Yeah.
Like, there's a lot of aspects of her upbringing and the difficulties of the Ruby having to raise
I
Jester.
need a
Yeah,
Carrie
there's
now.
some
I'm not
stuff,
kidding you.
but
It is
and there's a
way
lot of
more
reasons for
adorable than I
things,
imagined.
that I haven't.
The colors
like,
go.
like,
It looks
It's been
perfect.
for me at least. And this is your
the
question,
eyes,
so I
look
don't
at
even
the
know what I'm
eyes,
still
it's
talking.
looking
It's supposed to be
into
on
my
you, but
soul.
It was fun for me.
It was
Yeah.
fun for me as well, and it was fun to see Matt hold his robe shut and put on makeup.
I didn't realize
Yeah.
I was holding my robe shut until after.
Modest.
He kept like pulling his vest.
He
close.
was like
He had
holding
his
it
vest shut
together.
the whole time, and he was just like holding it here,
commitment
like
to character.
Modest.
it was just adorable.
You do that for a lot of characters. If you're wearing the vest, like the vest will change depending on the NPC. It's
the
awesome.
same way as like in a recording booth, you'll change your posture and
Yeah,
everything as
it's-
you're doing a character, but this time like it's on camera and we can like totally watch it.
And the internet can post a bunch of screenshots.
I
of you
feel like
doing it
in the
afterward. I'm like,
beginning,
oh, wasn't
I
even-
saw a clip
Yay.
that said that's Danny's mom.
How fun is it to
possibly.
collaborate on
I feel like
that
that's
stuff
Danny's
together?
mom on the Danny
Because you
cam.
get, you
It's
know, it's a
awesome.
secret
When I was
from-
skipping
It's
ahead,
awesome
I saw
to
Laura
have an
and I
idea in
saw
your head and
Danny.
then-
I
and then
feel
see
like
it
she
come
was
to
like,
light,
"This is my
how
mom" or
you see it in
something
your
like
head.
that. I
Love
could be
it.
totally wrong.
I think it's a lot of fun.
Yeah, to be
But-
surprised by it.
That's part of what I love about D&D, where you let the players create backstory and let them create elements of the world before the campaign starts. Because not only is that a good anchor to bring them into the story, but they're essentially trusting you with something they created to fill the other half. And that's where the real collaboration and the world building comes together. And yeah, like it's because of your story, Jester's story, that Nicodranas exists. It's because of like all these things from each character's backstory inspired me when they sent it to me to go ahead and build parts of the world where that would happen, and so it inspired a lot of the stuff that was built around it. So,
Wow.
and people are like, oh, how'd you build this whole world? I'm like, I built a lot of it, but there are a number of points of it that were inspired by what you guys gave me, and yeah, it's fun.
That's awesome.
And yeah.
Matt, German knot. Interesting.
Semnian, not.
Yeah,
Oh, that's the, okay,
interesting.
okay, yes.
How did you feel when Marisha's offhand joke about the gentleman resulted in Marion revealing the possibility of him being her dad?
I'm not
Did you expect this to
intrigued
come
by
out
it.
differently?
It's interesting.
Yeah.
It's different. Not as clever as most.
You don't want to know.
Well, I mean,
Mean
nothing's
Trick one,
confirmed yet, but it's fun to tease. And I was hoping for that tease and those threads to drop at some point, because it was fun to watch your guys' reaction. But I didn't. But I had planned for that to maybe come down the line after you had interacted with the Ruby or the Gentleman more, or something had come up where you had been like, "Was there, why is there a connection here at all?" I wasn't expecting to come out in the very first conversation you had reuniting with your mother.
Ridiculous.
And it would have been fine if you mentioned him, but you started going into like
Details about
him, how he looked, and from the Ruby's
Clearly, I'm being
perspective,
very
from Mary's
quiet.
perspective,
This is an important question to me.
a woman who had essentially been, for lack of a better term, left at the altar in a way.
She got all ready for him.
Yeah.
She was going to give up her life and like the way it was and go live with him.
Yeah, like Kill Bill.
Yeah.
And then ruminating on that for years and eventually letting it go, that to have those seeds of
I want to see if
of
he gives us
possibility
some
come
sort of
back up
clue
and trigger those
into it.
memories was very much like a, wait, what?
Yeah.
And as soon as it started happening, I was just like, when you're in that moment, you're just like, oh, well, here we go. This is exactly how she would react. This is exactly what you were saying would trigger this reaction. And what I thought might have been a long-term thread came a lot sooner. And once again, it's the unique elements of improv and D&D, you know?
And of course, the day that the gentleman was introduced to the... I wasn't here, so I couldn't be like, how many rings does he have on his fingers, you know?
Yeah.
Because that's all I knew pretty much about my dad, is that he was funny, he wore a lot of rings, and I knew his name, Babadon Dasal.
Did you know he was blue?
No.
Ooh, really?
Oh.
I suppose I did, but in my backstory, I didn't clarify that.
Okay.
So I pictured him as like human looking. So when all that stuff was coming down, I was like, whoa, he's blue. He's blue.
The way I saw it was when Mary would tell stories, she would very much
I want to go back and see
fancifully
my
embellish
reaction because I feel
her
like
memory,
the
and it
blue
would always be more the
might have
ideal
made
than
me
the
think of Jester,
physicality,
but I
if
don't
that makes
remember
sense.
that being
it
like
was
a
his sense
thing
of
where I
humor, it
ever
was his
considered the
words, it
gentleman
was
her
the,
father. And I still don't know for sure if it is. It could just be a
it was the
long
conversation.
running joke.
And so
or
whenever he would come up in conversation, and she didn't
teaser.
want to bring it up too much because it would be like, oh,
That's
this is your
sad.
father you'll never meet and who left me behind, you know. That's not a great topic to continuously bring up. So I figure when it did come up, for her it was a very kind of idealized memory, and those facets never really found their way into the conversation.
Right.
And so in many ways that may have been a you know, kind of a, oh, we never talked about that. Oh, shit. So it was fun.
It's amazing the level of care that you put into those decisions. It's so cool. You really have a lot of threads going at once. I mean, obviously you do in the story of the campaign, but even with every little detail like that, it's so interesting. How the world do you keep notes? I must know. You've never given me your secret for how you keep the data of
it's
all
all
of this
in the
stuff and
brain.
all of the different, you know, subfolders you must have with the.
I'm gonna shut him down for a second and find out.
No shit.
Hold on, I think I
Oh
can.
boy.
I'm gonna just shut him down.
Freeze all
I don't want to
motor
mess up his hair, or
functions.
else I would totally do it. That perfect
fine.
android hair, I can't.
I don't think you can mess it up. It just snaps back into place.
It's all
like
magnets,
Data.
really.
It's dwarven forged magnets.
I mean, part of it's prep and just kind of, as actors, part of our process is to understand the underlying reasons and beats of passion for a character that we're, you know, embodying. And for NPCs, I do that on a quick scale, depending on a lot of them, because you know, you can't fully immerse myself and have to build hundreds. But Marion's an important character, and we're used to.
And she's hot.
She's a
I
hell of a
even,
MILF as far as a lot of
what do
people
you
in
guys
Andromeda
think of
are
that?
concerned.
I'm not like
seen the
affected by it,
cosplay?
but I think that the
I've
way
seen
Jester
a few
talks about her
partial
mom
cosplays,
is just
yeah.
different.
It's really
Oh, I
cool.
saw
I've
one
never heard
earlier,
somebody brag so much about their mother
man.
being
I know.
hot. I mean, I guess
know.
Marion's
Really
awesome.
great.
I don't know. I just feel
did
like
you see
it's
our fan art of the
it's
week
like
winner last
almost
week,
like
or 'cause you
off-putting
weren't here?
how
was not feeling
much
very good.
she
Yeah, we'll
talks
send it to
about
you.
it.
I was probably sleeping.
I think it's on my Twitter.
I
if you
almost feel
unblock
like
me
it's
and
like
just check
almost
it out.
inappropriate.
Reblock me
Brian,
after-
stop trying.
Is where my mind
on
goes.
Twitter,
It doesn't.
so-
Okay,
It doesn't
I'll check
bother
it out. Here you
me. I just feel like she talks about it a lot.
Matt,
Like my mom's
please
hot.
answer this question. Danny Spud 2 asks,
I don't
did
know.
the
It's
cast
just-
know
it's
that the
something I would
turtle
never
was the
say
community
about my
created
mom.
in PC? Were you pleased at the response he got from the players?
As far as I know, most of them didn't.
Especially
Yeah.
with your
You didn't
mother
know, right?
being
Had
a
no idea when you were
courtesan.
describing
It's
it,
one
that-
thing if like your mother,
Yeah, it
you're like,
wasn't the name of the episode that
my
I
mom
guess
is
tell everybody,
very
like, by the way,
attractive
this was
lady.
kind of a communal effort with
It's another if you're like, she's
community.
hot and guys bang her.
And I was
all
very
the time.
happy with the
I mean, I know it's
reaction.
not
So
all
it's
about
such an
that,
interesting
but it
character.
happens.
It's a fun design.
It is.
It was just, yeah, we were all
part
like,
of that.
what? Blown away by that design.
It was funny because I, in the way I'd kind of been thinking about Wildmount, Tortles
You give like these really brilliant, intelligent responses, and then I just realized my response was, we were like, what? And then Matt starts talking all brilliantly again.
Whatever.
I'm a fucking idiot.
I'm vacillating through words here, trying to sound intelligent.
Look,
you're just awesome.
if you cancel on us, we put you up against Matt.
That's what we do
That's
to you.
the Tox Machina
You got
rule. If
sick,
you
don't ever get
you
sick
gotta be
again.
out with Matt the next week and be like, oh yeah, I don't know, I rolled a 6, what the heck? And then, Matt's like quoting, those
Using the word
yeah.
vacillation to show how unintelligent he is.
Right. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Anyway, Matt, please continue.
Those turtles are fun. I like turtles.
I like turtles.
I like turtles.
When you first saw
like
what the
turtles.
results were of, what he was supposed to be, did you panic or were you like, okay, this will be a fun challenge?
I didn't panic. It was just a lot of details in one NPC, and I was like, well, I can't just throw all these on the sleeve. It becomes so much up front. It's like there are aspects of the design that we did that still haven't really come to bear. They might not, depending on what they do.
I hope
but,
he
like,
comes
thought
back. I
it was
don't
fun to
know
at least get
why
that across,
he
'cause it's a
would.
very
Maybe we'll see
different
him at a
character they've
bar
encountered.
again at
And
some
long ago
point.
when I was designing
But Orly, the
Mountain in
turtle,
general, the
dig 'em.
turtles as a race,
One of my
once they were
favorite Matt
available
Marisha
in D&D, I
voices.
put them out and everything. I was like, they would be a great species of individual that existed more along the coast because they are, inherently more of an ocean faring race. So I was hoping whenever they got to the Menagerie Coast to encounter a few. And so when that design happened and the choices you guys decided to go with the Menagerie Coast for your next bit, I was like, well, that's going to make for a really nice little union there.
Wow.
So it was great.
That's kind of Pumati what you just did there, Matt. You just talk kind of like Pumat.
Sorry, it just kind of leaks
Yeah,
in there
it just went
occasionally.
in.
And there's
we
a lot
haven't
of
seen
them in his
Puma
head
in a
swirling
while,
around.
obviously.
Yeah, give me 2 years.
For
not
good
much Mercer
reason.
left. It's just going to be progressive
We're probably
tapestry
not
of
going
various
to
NPCs.
encounter him again for a bit.
I can't
We got
wait.
so many things we're
We're
doing.
getting the jacket made already.
After we're all done here, I feel like we will venture back that way.
Software I
See the
and there's
gentleman.
blocks. Didn't Marisha play a turtle in one of the Force Greys or one of the one shot? Yeah, okay, that's right.
Annihilation finale. We did live in New York. Yeah, she played a turtle bard
Yeah.
who had like 6 husbands.
Yes.
What was it? Was it Terrapin the Clarapin or something like that? was her
Terrapin
character. It
the
was just-
Clarapin.
And
Yeah,
she played it like what was it?
With 6
Her voice was
husbands?
basically Katharine Hepburn.
Oh, wow.
Who is this sort of turtle older woman? It was amazing. Yeah, it was great.
That's awesome.
Like burp Curie.
You're going straight into mom
I
mode still.
seriously,
Yeah,
like,
you're having.
I
You have to
love
be
the
holding
way
something at all
Curie
times,
looks.
and that's great.
The
You've also
green
got
is
Jester
so
here.
green.
Do you want to hold
I
the
love.
Ford
I
bust?
No.
Oh,
like
no, I
it.
don't.
It's just such a great green.
That's true, but the
Super
baby's
green
heavy
green.
too.
It is made
I
of
like
uranium,
very
to be fair.
Bust is
vibrant
heavier than
colors.
Ronan.
Probably.
No.
I'm pretty sure that Ford bus is made out of vibranium. Laura.
Vibranium's
Wait,
light.
vibranium's light. Shit.
You nerd.
No, I just.
Star.
No, help. Peter Dinklage's accent was so bad in that movie that I can't remember what vibranium does. Guys, Queso Commander, he won an Emmy last night,
He
though.
did. He did.
He'll never win anything for that performance in Infinity War. Laura, the Ruby of the Sea.
Oh my God, this is
seemed
like-
pleasantly surprised that
Did
Jester
he win an
had learned
Emmy for
healing
Game of
from the
Thrones?
Traveler.
I have to assume. I don't know what
How
else
did
he would
she
have won an Emmy
treat
for.
Jester's
or
relationship
TV.
with the Traveler while growing
was in
up?
great
Did she ever
movies.
meet him?
No, she never met him. I don't think anybody else has ever met him.
Interesting.
But sure she viewed it. I don't know. It's you now, but she acted like she believed me.
yeah.
But I'm assuming she probably just thought it was a weird imaginary friend.
That's kind of how I interpret it too.
Yeah.
Like, she's a supportive mother, and her daughter's excited, and since she has to spend a lot of time alone, it's like, well, this is a healthy way for her to have fun and have some way to express herself when she can't be there.
The
And then-
couch
But also got her into a lot of
is
trouble.
gradually getting filled with the plush.
and some of it was that's a problem. Some of it I'm sure Marion appreciated too. It's like that was actually pretty well done, but yours I still have to be punished. That's how I saw it.
What did she say again when you first brought up the Traveler giving you the healing powers? What did the Ruby say again? She was like sort of surprised, right? Like,
Well, yeah, because it was an imaginary friend essentially
It's like finding out Drop Dead Fred is really there.
That's
Yeah.
exactly what I was
movie
thinking.
reference the whole time.
Phoebe Cates.
Jesus Miracles.
Drop Dead
and you're
Fred.
like, what?
Yeah.
Guilty
Yeah, Drop Dead
pleasure.
Fred
was our
kind
base,
of a
like,
dark
kind of,
basis
movie.
yeah, when we were
you
talking
dark
about
comedy.
it.
I would
Yeah,
say.
pre-campaign.
I love it.
I was trying to, while you were answering,
It
I
was
was
a
trying to
kid's
think of the
movie,
name,
but I feel like
the one
there's
that
a
came
lot-
to
like
my
we were
head was
talking in the
Freddy
live
Got
stream.
Fingered, which is that
Freddy Got Fingered is another guilty
barely a
pleasure of
movie.
mine.
You can't even call that a movie.
Yeah, not so much a movie.
An
Like,
experience.
man,
As a person that
Freddy
had, like,
Got
a mild
Fingered, I
appreciation
think,
for
is
Tom Green in high
amazing.
school,
Yeah.
that movie was so disappointing.
We all did.
If you like those
Ever
kind
since
of
he put
movies.
that poop on the microphone,
Like
and
a-
said, what do you
like a
think
bad
of Pete
good
Sampras? Guys,
It's
let's give
got
away some
laughs.
free shit
You
real fast.
cannot tell me you don't
Uh,
laugh multiple
Our
times in
first
Freddy Got. It might be
giveaway is
raunchy
for
and
your gift
horrible,
making skills. It's time for
but you
gift of the
laugh.
week.
Even if you hate Tom Green, watch that movie. He gets hit by a truck. He gets beat on.
You're
Bring it up
welcome.
again. Don't ever bring it up again.
What was the other movie where the kid had the guy under the bed? And was it with Fred?
Little Monsters.
Fred Savage.
Fred
Yes.
Savage,
Love
Little
that.
Monsters,
Yeah.
and Howie
Howie
Mandel.
Mandel.
Yep.
Also,
Oh, yeah, Howie
a
Mandel.
classic.
I love
Love
tuna
it.
fish until that movie.
That's another
Really?
one that's
Yeah, 'cause then he
horrifyingly
makes cat
scary.
food sandwiches instead.
Oh, that's
Watch
There's a whole
the
scene.
end
Anyway,
of Little
continue.
Monsters.
Continue. Gift of the
okay,
week.
sorry.
The whole movie
Hey,
is creepy
your
and weird,
prize
but the
tonight
end
is a
with
gallon
Boy,
of tuna fish.
Boy is
Our winner from
horrifying
episode
as a
34
child.
was sent in by Tamra Wilkinson,
I love the song at
aka
the end.
@gloriously_geek.
We're on a
Let's take a look.
road to nowhere, like OMG. Oh God, we're doing the whole thing with the.
Such good reaction.
Are we gonna see that guy again? The
Yeah.
Zalezo she was
Oh,
talking
God.
to. Tracy,
Yep.
the great, powerful Tracy.
Yep. Yeah,
Who
that
the
was
fuck
great.
is Tracy?
Man,
Yeah.
memorable.
Who the fuck is Tracy?
fuck is Tracy? Congrats to you, Tamara. You have won this.
Tracy was a great one.
Dun, dun, dun,
I
dun, dun.
forget, was it? It was something with a.
Not the best job of
W,
unfolding
I
that
feel
shirt,
like.
Brian. Not the best detective agency.
I don't know.
Softest shirts in the land. This one has
I
been
feel like it
blessed
started with a W,
by
but
Heart Music.
I
Laura
feel like we're
Bailey
gonna come
and the
across
Dungeon
him
Master
again
himself.
just for shits and giggles. Nothing crazy.
Oh wow! Now it's worth
Yeah.
at least 10 grand in
There we
pesos.
go.
Here we go.
DNA included.
Guys, don't forget, if you want to have a chance at winning Gift of the Week, all you have to do is
He's on a shirt.
to submit at talkspocket.com. Moving on, Matt.
Yes. Huh.
Danik_Hey asks, how cool is it to bring Orly
I think
to
we're
life?
we're about
From
halfway
what
because
detail. Well,
Gift
we
of
already
the
kind of
week.
asked that.
I'll follow up on that.
Yeah, follow up
and
on that
just
if you have
say,
any more info.
Because the community designed a bunch of elements of it, and then
I
the
saw
personality
Orly
we were in the
spelled with a
chat specifically
Y
before it. I was
and an
looking at
I.
things behind. I was like, what kind of voice would
and
it
the
have?
Y was
And
in
someone
the
said Cajun,
subtitles.
and I
You
was
guys
like,
tell me that is the
that's
correct
something I
way
haven't done in a
usually.
long time, and should probably practice. And then someone said stutter, and I grew up a stutterer, and my father was a stutterer, and so to me it was like I would love to bring that into it in a way that isn't comical necessarily, and isn't a trait that is, a focus of a thing, but more like, just a part of how they talk and a unique facet of their personality. So, which is how like the M's especially got stuck, because that was one of the things that I got caught on a bunch as a kid. So yeah, no, it was really kind of fun to take something that the community had helped forge and hopefully do it justice. So.
Wow, absolutely. Laura. Hey,
I like the answer.
Sart asks,
I was
how did Jester feel
curious
when
about
she
the-
had to
the
disguise
voice.
herself in her hometown?
Oh. I think she didn't care.
It didn't
Has
appear
she
so.
done it before?
I don't think Jester looks
In
like
her
she ever
hometown?
cares about anything. I mean,
I
at a given
imagine
moment, she has emotions.
she
but
went out when she was a
long
kid
run,
every once in a while.
I don't think she
Go
cares
clubbing.
about
She
what
didn't need to
anyone thinks
disguise
about
herself,
anything.
though. No, I don't think she ever snuck out. No, it was
Within
like,
reason, I mean. Like,
okay,
she's not
you're allowed
an
to go
asshole.
to this store for this one errand. Go get this and come back, sort of thing. Because she just didn't spend a lot of time outside. But she never had a need to disguise herself.
Yeah, interesting.
She wasn't connected to the Ruby when she was out
Yeah.
in public.
Yeah, that makes sense.
As long as she didn't cause any problems and say, "I'm with the Ruby," which she totally would do if
Just
she
running out in
like
the
she
street.
does. Yeah.
What's that, Danny?
Like she did in the Wayfarer's Cove.
Yeah, exactly.
First person you went and talked to in the Wayfarer's Cove. I'm the daughter of the Ruby of the Sea.
Yep.
Oh shit! Sorry.
Sorry.
Yeah.
It's out there now.
Yeah.
Matt, another great Orly question. Raven62. Had you
I'm
planned for
fine
Orly
with
to
it, 'cause
appear
Orly
in
is
the
one of my
Wayfarer's
favorite
Cove when you
parts
started working out
of
the
the first
details of
half.
his character, or did you improvise when the players went there and decided it would be a good introduction?
I mean, initially when the character was created, my first instinct wasn't, oh yeah, put it right there, you know. But when I began to develop and flesh out elements of Nicodranas in preparation for your guys' arrival, I thought about Orly and kind of the story I was writing for that NPC and where he comes from, what his skills are, and I thought he would probably be hanging in the Wayfarer's Cove. He's between jobs, and that's one of the more popular, you know, wharf taverns for drinking when you're not in the process of working at the docks there. And since it already was a tie-in to the storyline that you guys were pursuing, it would be a likely path you guys would cross. So I was like, that's better than me throwing him somewhere in an alley that you guys might never come across, or making me feel like a forced, you walk down the street and see a turtle. He's really cool, by the way, you helped make this.
I feel like when I played
I
video
didn't want to
games
make it feel like I was
as a child,
prying it into
role-playing
the
games
story.
specifically,
That's true. We could have
I
totally chosen just not to
expected
talk to him.
all the mercenaries and people
I mean,
to get
I figured it'd be
answers
hard
from
because
to
he's
be
an
at the
interesting character, the way
taverns or
you
the
guys
bars
made
or
him.
the
So
inns or something like that.
I felt pretty confident you're
Makes
going to talk to
sense.
the turtle. But yeah, for
I
me
would
it made sense.
Doesn't
in the beginning
every
when I was
facet
younger,
of what came
I would
together
skip all the
for that
buildings. I would
turtle
run right to
completely
like the main area
mirror
of
the
drinking and hanging out or
fucked up
wherever it
minds
was
of our amazing
in that game.
fans.
I just knew that you'd
When
get
I
most
read
of
the
your
thing,
answers
I'm like,
there.
yep, this checks out with the critters. This makes 100% sense. Yeah.
Made me so happy. And even still, like as much as they defined, there was still a lot of room to create.
Yeah.
Because they just made him bard.
Right.
And so I was.
So you chose the bagpipe thing?
Yeah, I was trying to think what would be a fun like instrument or a performance type, and I was like, it's a turtle, probably wouldn't be an orator necessarily, especially with a stutter, perhaps, or he could actually, you know, and like speak fluently when he was pretending.
Like in Shakespeare in Love.
Yeah, and a lot of people who have gone
never
through
seen
speech
it.
impediments,
I know
it was
of
during
it.
different types of performance, whether it be singing
If
or
I'm not
theater,
mistaken,
like
it
that
won
was a
many
way they could
awards,
bypass their
Academy
stutter for a period of time.
Yeah.
So I
I've
thought
never
about
seen
that,
it.
but I love the idea of a turtle with like essentially installed bagpipes in the shell.
Brilliant.
And I kind of
Yeah,
stuck
that
with
was
it.
genius.
Yeah.
I loved it.
It's something. I don't know, genius.
I
but
think it's
something.
genius. When I heard that
It was
voice, I was
something.
like, this is amazing.
I dug
hope
it.
they
I
can
thought it was
bring this
awesome.
dude
I liked
on
everything
now.
I saw
about
a lot of
Orly.
comments in the community like, oh my god, he sounds like Gambit. I'm like, oh no, he doesn't. Gambit when he's like 65 and drinking way too much
Yeah.
bourbon. Like, I
To
know.
be fair, a lot of people don't have another Cajun.
Yeah, that's their only Cajun
Yeah.
reference.
Which I understand that.
Yeah.
I understand that, but like.
So they're comparing it to the only
to
other
me,
thing that you
Gambit
can
is a
compare
much
it to.
smoother.
I don't know who
you know,
Gambit
kind of like
is.
sort of down Cajun French sort of way of speaking. You know.
Gambit, I had the biggest crush on Gambit.
We all did.
Everyone did.
I had a crush on Gambit.
Still
He was
have a
amazing.
crush on
Yeah.
Gambit.
Absolutely.
Very deep one. Thank
Yeah.
you.
Wow. Okay, Danny.
Danny.
Mom is sitting there. Let's not go
Yeah,
into too many
the mom is
details.
like,
Hey,
what
Mom
is
knows how I
happening?
feel about Gambit.
Oh,
I have a question
Gambit.
for you.
Oh,
How
Gambit.
often does
like
Danny talk
X-Men.
about John Constantine?
That makes a whole lot more sense. I thought they were talking
Because
about in the
every other
game.
phone call.
I thought he was
Okay,
saying
every other
Gambit.
phone call.
Gambit.
Oh boy. What she's
Gambit,
not telling you
Cajun.
is there's 12 phone calls a day.
That's actually very accurate.
Oh man, that's hilarious. Laura,
Yeah.
this question
Clearing my
comes
throat.
from.
I can't get my throat right.
Hold on, I just fucking pressed the wrong thing. I all of a sudden am like just checking out my stocks. Virid is Vulpes. I don't know.
I feel like you're getting worse and worse at pronouncing names.
Look,
Go with it. Say
I'm
the
busy.
question.
Meredith Volpez sounds good to me.
we've
Meredith
heard Caleb
Volpez.
cast some judgment on her upbringing, but how does Jester feel about her home life?
She thinks it's great. Her life was great.
See, I was
What a-
casting
see,
judgment
when you give
earlier,
such
like Caleb was,
long,
but
eloquent
actually, I'm not
answers like
judging
that,
it. I don't
makes
care.
Matt's look
I'm just
even
thinking
more articulate
that it
and
seems
incredible.
kind of inappropriate the way she talks
She doesn't
about
have a
this,
lot.
but
She doesn't have a
I
very
really don't
large point
care
of reference
one
to
way or the
her.
other.
Everything she did was totally normal. That's
I
what
just
she
never
did,
in my
you know?
life
She didn't
encountered
have a
somebody
wide
that
social
spoke
circle
that
growing up,
openly,
you know, it was her mom basically.
openly.
And basically, it was her mom and the traveler, and that was it. Like, I don't want to reveal too much because I'm sure these are some details that maybe will come out later. as we play
I shut
about
up real quick
her
'cause I wanna
relationship
hear.
with the Traveler. But like that's all she knows about friendship, you know? So getting out into the world and finding out, oh shit, well maybe this wasn't totally normal. Like those are things that are echoing in her head now, you know, and she's kind of coming to terms with it, but that doesn't change the feeling that she was happy when she was home, you know?
Yeah.
Like she never felt really like she was missing out on a ton.
Yeah.
She wasn't just exposed to a lot of other kids.
She was content with what the experience she had.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I
makes sense.
get
I
all.
think-
I mean, all that makes sense.
There's that childlike personality that she has is due, in fact,
To the happiness.
her not being exposed and not
Yeah.
really having to grow up ever.
People her age, her not spending time with them and understanding how they matured and progressed,
Right.
kept
She's
her at
always
maybe
just
like
been
a
kind
certain.
of babied at home,
Yeah,
you know?
that makes sense.
Like a faint element of Arrested Development.
Yeah.
I mean, that
Yeah.
makes sense. It explains why she. I just
And
feel
Marion's a
like
complicated kid
at a
figure.
point, like she is
The more-
saying,
the
at a
more that I,
point
like,
she does
developed her
realize it,
story and the way
but it
that
makes
we
her
written
happy. I
originally.
guess it just comes down to she doesn't care.
I like
what
her a
people
lot.
think. She's happy. I'm gonna do it.
mean,
I'm gonna act like that.
Jester wouldn't know the actual terminology per se, or think it different because of her experience, but like, Marion is essentially agoraphobic, kind of. So, like, you know,
Yeah.
Right.
the
Agoraphobia
her place of work
not wanting to leave
is
your
her home as well, and she
home.
doesn't really go out either. And Jester probably got out more growing up doing these errands for her mom because she wouldn't go out.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's been just very much a closed, protected, you know, this is our
mean,
space for you and me, and here we're safe and
makes
we love each
sense.
other. And
I
we have
just
this
feel like
together.
now that Jester has been out and about.
Was it probably the
for
best as a
a
child?
bit.
No, but no parent is perfect, and Marion has her regrets
But
as
she
well. I'm
didn't
sure.
acknowledge that. So
But is also very proud to see the woman that Jester is becoming, and in many ways excited. That
I think it
she's
has
kind
a
of,
lot to do with her
ascending
knowing it
past
and
a
not
number
caring,
of
and that's cool.
you know, personal
If that's how you wanna
barriers that
be.
Marion herself has dealt with over the years. I'm kind of excited to see where all that goes.
Oh, me too. Yeah. Did you hear that? No parent is perfect.
I will keep that in mind. Yes, when I turn my child toward the spotlight when I go to show him off on the camera.
No parent is perfect.
Which I did at the beginning of this.
But the people want to see him because he's so
I was
cute
like, I
and
just
he's getting so
put
big
my-
and he's got the little Michelin Man arms and
I
the
know
legs
he's
now.
getting
I
so,
love
like,
it. I want to
He's
just
getting
bite
all
it.
baby fat.
I know, it's so great.
love
Halloween's
it.
coming up. Perfect time to put him in a sailor outfit and paint him white and make him the Stay Puft
Stay
Marshmallow
Puft Marshmallow Man. I knew
Travis
right where he
already
was
thought of a
going.
really fun idea, but I'm afraid
Paint
Ronan's
him
already
white.
like growing a little too much hair for it.
Oh, really? Wait,
Mr.
was
Clean.
it Walter White?
powder.
Powder.
Mr. Clean. Who else could be a bald guy?
Wow,
Random.
that was a little deep cut.
I'm trying to think
That
of
was
bald
great.
guys that the baby could be.
Powder.
Kingpin?
Oh, man. Wasn't
You
Jeff
like a
Goldblum?
kingpin?
It's not the
from-
first time we've referenced powder on this show either.
Yeah, I guess
This
to
was
show the quality of people we are,
2019.
really.
Yeah.
So
Big
what was
Powder
popular?
fans. There will be a
It could have been
VHS
back
of it behind
like
my
Kingpin.
shoulder.
Wasn't
soon.
Kingpin in Dare?
Let's give away some more free shit.
Punisher and
let's do
Dare.
it.
Wasn't he in
Next,
Daredevil?
it's
I know he's in
Fan Art of the
Punisher.
Week.
Fan art of the week. I want to know what she was gonna think of doing her baby as.
This week's fan art winner, I was finishing my
Fan art.
for
Of the
episode 34
week.
was sent in by Pablo Agarcia at P Agarcia. Let's take a look. Speaking of,
My God.
I saw that one over the weekend and I was really
That
hoping
is
that he
one of
would
my
submit.
favorite of the fan arts of the week. That is awesome looking.
Putting subliminal messaging over the
There's like
beautiful
so
art.
many details in
wasn't
there
asking
that I
for him to
love.
put that over
that
there.
immediately jumped easily into the
Guys,
top
love
10.
Thank
Possibly
you
the
to
top
everyone who submitted.
5. I
as
gotta
always,
go
just
back
waiting
and
for
check
the
'em all.
camera to
That's
go back on me. There we go.
one of my
Congrats
favorites.
to you, Pablo.
It also doesn't
You
hurt
have won this
that I love
Sherry
Orly already.
Dice Tower system featuring the Dascapus.
That's good word.
The
called-
Dascapus?
Dascapus.
Scapus?
I like Dascapus.
Dascapus. I like
She
that
said,
too.
here's the thing. She sent it to me and told me the
Dascapus.
correct pronunciation. I put it in the script and then Max deleted it. It's Cartography by Devin Rue, we were talking about earlier.
At these depths of the ocean, we have the proper, we have the gift of looking upon the subterranean Madagascar Dascapus.
Dascapus.
How you doing, Brian?
That shit was hilarious.
I haven't gotten
I knew Matt was gonna go somewhere fucking Jacques Cousteau with my stupid
The desk.
pronunciation.
Those things always look great.
So that has a dice tray, a tower, and a vault in it.
Yeah.
The Kickstarter for that is ended, but now available on Backer Kit. Make sure to check out
Holy
wormwoodgaming.com.
moly, this is beautiful.
I know, I
Yeah.
told
I
you.
haven't
It's
gotten to
pretty
hold one
awesome.
of these in my hand since like these engraved ones have come
Well,
in.
Rachel will need another one because this one's obviously going home
It's
in
stolen.
Ronan's diaper
I don't know
bag.
where it went.
We will not be able to find this at 8:30 tonight. Remember, you can enter our weekly contest by emailing your GIF or fan art to submit at talksmachina.com.
It is really,
Rules
really
for our
awesome.
contests are available.
I
at
still never order. I have
critworld.com.
one
Shout
from
out
Dogmite
to
coming at
Rachel
some point.
Romero.
Dogmite
who
was the only one that would
destroys
engrave it with
managing that
ViewMasters.
website.
She's
Completely
Sucks.
kills it. Gives you guys all the information you could ask for and more. All we ask is that you check it out because most of your questions can be answered on the website. We go to extra care going, what are the critters going to ask? And we make sure that info is all on there. So make sure to always check it out. What's going on there?
I'm just keep holding in these burps. And I can't.
Just don't hold them in. I feel like the people
I
don't care.
don't hold my burps. You guys
Matt.
know that.
Yes.
I think it's
Pizza
like a
schnitzel
normal
is
thing
back.
that you have to deal with. And sitting here for hours and hours and hours, it's virtually impossible. So I just
That
roll with
person's
it.
day just got made.
The other day I was watching Tyrone Magnus.
When Caduceus fell
and he was
unconscious,
just openly like,
how worried were you about possibly
like
killing
for like
Tal's second
5
character?
minutes, just burping into the mic
It was
and like.
close.
Spoilers,
Didn't
by
happen.
the
by the way, for
Shit.
anyone
I know.
not caught up on
I mean,
the
I'm a
show.
little like
you
I
watching
at
Fox
least
then?
cover my mouth. I don't burp in the mic.
Yeah, it's always nerve-wracking as a DM when you take down a healer, but like given the fact that Caduceus, came out of Molly's death, I was like, oh man. But I felt confident that they'd be all right because they had someone who might decide to heal.
I will totally heal if there is nobody else available to do it. I will do it.
If it doesn't
Cure
cost me a
wounds
diamond,
40 times.
That's right.
Yeah, well, it just made sense. Like given the power sets of what they were fighting, there were other targets, but they kept lining up. So
Laura's playing with
perfectly
herself right
hallway.
now.
And it just made sense. And
You're like Mercy if you have 3 bars of health left and then you damage boost me.
I don't know what it means.
We gotta be
In 2
almost
years,
done. I
when you
just
get a
realized we
chance
gotta
to
be
sit down
close.
at a game console again,
Yeah.
play some Overwatch and you'll know what Matt and I are talking about.
I'm gonna play Spider-Man.
I had so many friends that were obsessed with Overwatch.
if
I
you
know
don't-
all
if
the
you're
characters.
One of the three
I've
people
seen
who
a
haven't
lot
bought Spider-Man
of
for
the
PS4 yet, Laura Bailey, Travis Willingham,
Cinematics.
lots of people.
Matt's in it,
Talison's in it. Lots of people that we feature on Talks Machina ended up in that game.
Yeah, I just went and watched all the cinematics today over at Insomniac.
You did?
Yeah, and they were so good.
I'm
And they
pretty
did such a
sure
great
I
job.
did that
Turned out
on the channel.
fantastic.
There is a
I got to do one
strong
mocap scene
possibility.
with Laura when she was
3
super
years ago when I
pregnant.
started this channel, I
It
think
was
I
like 2 weeks
watched
before you gave birth, I think.
a
yeah.
lot of video game
And I was all, like,
cinematics. I remember
stealthing.
like
Yeah.
Like,
definitely
pregnant,
Overwatch.
belly
Like Mary
stealthing.
Jane, just
I don't remember how many,
giant
but I
pregnant
definitely did
Yeah.
Overwatch.
Now, did
She's
they
great.
put some sort of a bladder in the suit for you to be able to? Because I hear that it's so hard to get in and out of them to go pee.
Awful. Okay, yeah, because you're like totally velcroed into those things,
Yeah.
right? Like you can't get out. And when you're pregnant, you have to pee like every 10
Right.
minutes. Yeah, it was awful. And you have like this computer system on you, so they had to like figure out a different way to put them on me because
that
like
you
I
could
didn't
pee
know like the
easier?
heat from the system was going to affect the belly, so like everything had to
Oh,
be hooked
yeah.
onto my thigh, and it was like it was totally weird.
Yeah.
Interesting.
All the radiation from the
I
computer.
know, like who knows? Those things
knows?
aren't tested.
No.
That's why Ronan's already so
I mean, I
Been around for
don't
50
blame.
years
I
and we
wouldn't.
can
I don't.
examine its
I
effect on
don't
the
think
human
things
body.
like that have
Exactly.
long-term
Yeah, when
effects,
Ronan
but
hits
I
8
don't
foot,
know.
I'll
I
be
ain't
like,
no
you know,
freaking
Yeah.
scientist. I would take all
He's only
precautions as
4.
well.
Something's not right here. Laura Fire and Ice asks, Jester has now seen 2 other people of faith that have a way different relationship with their deity.
Right.
Caduceus seems to be sign-based, while Yasha has visions and dreams. Has this impacted her faith at all, or is the Traveler still her best friend first?
Best friend.
It's still her
first.
best friend.
Yeah.
Everybody else has a loser deity that is not like hanging out with them. Like what the hell?
Okay, so that's how you view it. It's not that maybe there's
honestly,
any
though, she's
curiosity
right.
about what their deities
That's very
are. and it's
aggressive,
maybe you
but I
chose
like
the
it,
wrong
and that's
path.
right.
Travelers told me all about how awesome he is
You get
compared to the
visions.
other deities.
You have
Yeah.
sign-based things.
Okay.
I saw the
He
Traveler.
speaks very highly of himself.
He's my buddy. He's been my invisible best friend since childhood. But she's seen him now. She's seen like we know he's real.
Hoping Matt's okay with it as I say it.
Of course.
I think it's fine.
I think. I mean,
it makes sense.
Yasha has
And,
probably spoken
given
and
Jester's
partied
upbringing
with
and
Storm
her
Lord.
relationship with the
You know what I
Traveler.
mean? I'm sure she's seen him, and I mean, she said she
Yeah, I
talked
mean,
to him.
it's pretty unique to see other people that have like, I have a god too.
Oh, do you?
Yeah.
Oh,
he's-
yeah?
Yeah, I leave offerings and
Do you
get
play
good
rock
weather.
parchment shears with that deity? Because mine
Rock
does
parchment
that.
shears over
and
here?
he's way better.
Yeah, we party with our Traveler. I'm totally down.
Yeah.
Best.
I don't
I think,
disagree with anything she's saying.
I
the
think we
Traveler.
can now say this issue's
I
been
gotta
resolved.
say, it's probably my favorite of
I
all
love
the
it because the
deities
perspective
right
of other
now.
characters is very
I
much like,
dig the
like,
mysteriousness
yeah, no, I
and
met
the
Jesus. He's a really great guy.
chaoticness.
Oh, here he comes, and it's just like some rough-looking dude who hangs outside of the Arby's, and you're like, yeah,
Yeah.
okay, maybe we should go inside.
Right. Yeah, it's like Caleb looks like. Remember those garbage pail kids? Caleb's like garbage pail Jesus.
Garbage.
Also,
Garbage pail
multiple
kids.
time we've referenced the Garbage Pail Kids on this show.
Really?
Yes.
Wow.
The
They were-
cards, not the movie.
I love
'cause
the movie.
That movie is
I
fucking awful.
never
It is
saw the movie.
I never
amazing.
saw the movie either.
The
parents-
movie,
My
I
mom
owned
got
it as
so
a
mad
child.
whenever we would come home with those garbage pail kid cards.
I have
Really?
all
You're
of
not
them.
allowed to have
I
it in
have
your house 'cause they were
almost
so
every.
fucked
I have
Messed
every
up.
set.
But, like,
I
the
just don't have
movie
every
is
set complete.
Genuinely, like,
Back to
not even
series one.
enjoyable bad.
A
It's
and
like
B.
one of the
They had
worst
A and B
movies
different
ever.
names.
I like them when they're bad but enjoyably.
Me too.
bad.
And the
That's a
movie
genre
I
that
find
I fully
to be a
appreciate.
guilty
Yeah.
pleasure.
This is not one
Like
of
the
them.
Last Jedi.
Juice and
guys.
Tangerine. Literally, that's characters' names. There's Juice and Tangerine. The Artful Dodger.
For both of you. So this has kind of come up before, but way, way, way early on in Talks Machina history, before people were watching. Music Critter 1, for both of you, what are the best and worst parts of working so close to your spouse? Is it weird for you when they flirt with someone else in character, or is
I
it just fun
wonder
to see
this
their
all the
characters being
time.
brought to
I
life?
know they're all friends, and I don't think anything of it because
Not
of the
weird.
respect.
I don't think it's weird.
but
Well, like,
I
But
could
it's so
see
not them. The way that they're
not with
flirting
these people,
is not
but
the
I could
way
totally
that,
see
Matt
other
would flirt,
people
which I know extremely well.
jealous or be like,
I'm sorry.
what was that all about?
I've heard about.
I like that. I mean, I know very
We're
jealous
all
people
actors,
over silly
and
things.
we've probably all had to see, our significant other have to do scenes with somebody else and, audition and
That's
all sorts
what
of stuff.
I'm thinking.
So
They're
at
professionals.
this point, I mean,
So
this is
it's
way more
normal.
fun because you're getting
If
to
you
like
just
watch,
took a handful
watch
of
them and-
regular people off the
you know,
street,
inside,
at them.
I
they,
bet you
they're also like
a good half of
kind
them
of
would get
uncomfortable with
really
the fact, like on a
jealous.
very like subconscious layer level, uncomfortable with the fact that their significant other is going to need to watch them flirt with this other person
Yeah.
in character. There's like layers of weird
yeah.
social awkwardness, and yeah, we
great.
thrive in that.
Yeah.
I mean, I
but
think
also, like,
I
once again,
enjoy it.
We
I
live
think
with
I'd
our
be fine.
SOs
I
and
personally
know
would be fine
what
with
is
it.
honest flirting,
Any
what is an
situation like
honest
that.
connection, and when they're in character and they're doing it as a character, there is no congruency there, and there's no worry. If it was like one of those things where you're like, okay, this makes me a little uncomfortable because this is a little true to them. This reminds me of when we first met them. That'd be a conversation, but
Yeah.
And also, like, it has to do with how comfortable you are with your friends at the table and know, like, what everybody's
Yes.
relationship is at the table. And
They're
We're
all
also very
like if you
affectionate people, I would
infuse a
say.
complete
Everyone
stranger,
in the cast is,
take a
is
single
comfortable
guy,
being
throw him in
affectionate
the
with each
mix,
other,
complete
and
stranger. I
being
could see people
close
being
and-
like,
and
"Yo, you're
caring
being
for
a
each
little
other." So
weird."
there's a lot of affection on the show,
Everyone's
and that just comes
friends.
from a place of all of us being,
Everyone's professional.
love each other.
and that's not going to be the same for every table.
No,
Especially.
excuse me.
Well done.
Thank you.
that was at least you turned your head away.
well, I ate.
What's that? Chris turned in his 2 weeks.
Sorry, Chris.
But it also, it's a comfort level too. You
Yeah.
know, even in our first campaign, no one was interested in pursuing any sort of in-game romance at all until 2.5, 3 years into our game.
We didn't even think that was an option. Like, it
Yeah.
was so not even.
Yeah.
And then when it happened, you can go back and look at the first campaign. The rest of the group's like, what?
I mean, we lost our shit.
I know, but that also spearheaded kind of the is this an okay thing to explore if it feels right in the story? And then out of that we got the fantastic, Vex and Percy relationship. We got to see
The
like
best.
all these wonderful intricacies from there.
I've
of
heard,
Keyleth
this isn't
and
spoilery
Vex
to
from
me
that
because
point
I've
forward.
heard
Very.
subtle references
come on, lady.
about Vex and Percy. I don't know to what extent, and I don't care to
it's
know
not
yet.
biased.
Don't fuck up my Tumblr
In my
time
mind,
later
it's not really a
tonight.
spoiler. I expect
I don't want to
people
read a
to
bunch
hook
of
up.
how dare
There's
she.
already been, subtle hints.
But yeah, it's a comfort that if it's something you want to explore in the story, you have to be friends that trust and respect each
Yeah.
other and know those boundaries of where
This
to play
is
it and where to stop.
Possibly close to the last question.
There was
One
no
more.
point
I
in
feel
the
like
story
we're gonna
where,
get one more question.
Percy and Vex, began to get romantic, and then we're like, all right, let's roll up some Constitution, save and throw.
That I wouldn't want to describe that stuff.
Weird. Yeah, but like it's as long as you can keep that respectful narrative going, and it's a fun place to explore, and all of us are like invested in it, and you trust each other. It's a lot of fun to do.
Right. It's also fun to flirt with your significant other.
Oh man.
Them really
Oh man.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
It's been the blast
really-
watching you and Travis's campaign.
so good.
It's so great.
I have a feeling.
Ford is having none of it.
I have a
No,
feeling.
he's not into it. It's so good.
I love it.
It doesn't matter what type of character I played. I feel like if I showed up, Yasha would try to kill me immediately. 2 words out of my mouth. Who cares
I
if
feel
they
like
were like
if I
free
feel like I'd be
gold,
the
it
if
would
I had
be-
like a
she would just
significant
try
other
to
that I
kill me.
played D&D with, I don't think I'd go out of my way to be
No,
romantical.
not at all.
I think I'd go out of my way
Laura.
to screw with them. Kind of like what
Waffle
Laura's
Slop has
saying.
a
I
question
would
for you.
I love it.
be constantly
Slop's a
making
great
jokes
name.
and
It's a
try to
great
make them
name. It's also a
uncomfortable.
great Cajun
Just because that's how I'm
Oh,
playful
wow,
like that.
it's-
I'm just
there's a
playful.
running theme here,
I
so-
wouldn't be all
Was your
sappy.
acquisition
I
of
would be
Nugget
giving them jabs all the time. They
partly
probably hate
due
me and
to
we'd fight all the
trinket
time.
withdrawal?
But in all good fun. All in good fun.
Do you have trinket withdrawal?
Yes, I have.
If
trinket
someone
withdrawal,
put it this way,
obviously.
if the person I
How
dated
can you
couldn't take
not?
the joke, I wouldn't date them. I want to date somebody that has a sense of humor like me. I want to get it back
I
as
think
well.
the acquisition
I
of Nugget
want it
was
back just as equally as I give it.
partially because of stupidity, and partially because I love animals, and if you put them in front of me in real life or in imaginary life, I will gravitate towards them.
Yeah, even if they're stuffed.
Obviously, yes.
Yes.
This is why I think me and Laura
Matt,
are very
Something
similar.
that came up a lot this
I
week.
agree with everything
This
she
is
said.
A question
I have
from
plushes
Danny.
everywhere. In every room of my house, I
I have a
have
question.
plushes.
It's the most
and
important question.
Literally,
What was
I
it
know
like
they're not
bringing
real,
back an
but I
NPC from the
treat
first
them
campaign?
like
Oh, it was great.
real
It was so much fun.
Like, what was the
animals.
thought process behind
in the sense that I'm
bringing
like,
in Captain Adela versus
I
like a
like-
different
I
NPC?
don't
or
know.
The
something?
thought
It's weird.
process
It's
there
hard to describe.
was
I'm gonna end it there.
as I was fleshing out Nicodranas and the districts
Nicodranas.
and what folks kind of come in and out of there, I was thinking of the Wayfarer's Cove and what kind of personalities would be in that vicinity. And I kept thinking of like, well, they probably have this type of personality, this character might come in there, probably like a long-running kind of seafaring captain of, a passenger and shipping, ship out.
Wait, I have one of those.
Yeah, and I was like, I could create a new one, but why? If there's a good one that already exists, that would be a fun wink nudge to, a quick wink nudge to the old campaign, and 20 years later would still be kicking ass on the high seas.
Yeah,
so,
she is.
So
The
for me, it was
dude
like
did
I like Captain
inform
Noah.
me
She only got a little
privately.
bit of screen time in the first
Me and the
campaign.
dude talk constantly all
and,
week
and
long.
it was a way that I could
Or I should say the
kind
dude
of
constantly
once again tie
sends me
together this
information,
campaign,
and
the
I
last one in a
nod,
subtle
and
way
I
that
go,
didn't
thank you.
override the narrative,
Because I
that
don't know
didn't feel
anything,
like it
and the
was
dude
shoehorned
fills
in.
me
It
in.
was just it felt like
But he
a
told me
natural,
about Captain Adela.
person you'd pass by that made sense.
Like as much as I needed to know about
be there.
Captain Adela.
Yeah.
awesome.
I love her so much.
Me too.
I'm so excited.
Oh man.
Oh, Danny. The mom is just
final
probably like, what
question
the
of the night
frig are you guys talking
goes
about?
to you. Please be a one-word answer.
Okay.
Cyberwolf1201. When coming up with this iteration of Jester, you modified some of her tiefling racial traits. Did you intend for these to be tied to Jester's father when making Jester? And if so, what
I'd
preconceptions
have to say
about
no,
him did you have
because she
before
didn't know he was
Thursday?
blue.
Is this answerable?
Is this answerable?
Is it?
Can the people know?
Sure, we can talk about it a little bit. Sure.
Fuck yeah. Talk
Yeah,
about it.
talk about it. Don't tell me too much.
So, okay.
I kind of don't want to
When
know.
I created Jester, in this iteration,
Right.
before I decided on Jester, I had thought about making a Water Genasi character. And because I was like thinking of doing a
That's
Water
what
Genasi
the gentleman
warlock
is.
what I was originally.
Yeah.
And then Travis was like, should I be a warlock? So I was like, the warlock's pretty cool. Okay, you should be a warlock.
Oh, sweet.
So I went back to Jester. But then I was like, but maybe she's got some of that in there and she just doesn't know it or something. So I was trying to we were trying to figure out how I would make that work with a tiefling. And so, yeah, we talked about.
Yeah, we were in your house working over the specifics of Jester.
So
and it was
she-
like, well, is there possible, crossover between
So
the
did
two
she-
bloodlines? And I was like, sure.
I think the gentleman was her
Justings a little
father
bit. She was
immediately
how'd
and
that-
just
how'd that
couldn't
act?
say
I'm like, well,
nothing because
skin tone makes sense based on where we're designing.
She said
but
I
also
didn't
resistance-wise,
say
I
anything
like to
about
think
the
that it
blue.
wouldn't be one or
But
the
but
other. It would kind of
Genasi-
go in a different direction
had to have
based
thought
on
when
that
she heard the
shift. And so that's
gentleman
why she has
came
cold
in.
resistance over
Yeah.
fire
So
resistance.
that was Matt's call on the cold resistance.
And it was more of as opposed to choosing one or water genasi, it kind of just went off in its own weird it's kind of close and in between, but its own path from the unique mingling of features.
constantly spinning in this chair. I apologize. if I'm,
And the fact that when you do your hellish rebuke, it's cold damage as
Yeah.
opposed to fire damage. So it's all just kind of this unique
That's cool,
merging
too.
of those two bloodlines, causing
it
this
does
third
make a
kind
lot of sense with
offshoot
everything. Hellish rebuke.
thread. And then that's it. It's just a little flavor.
Yeah. So, but the thing is I thought in that iteration that her father was a water
Genasi.
and
Yeah.
is that what it's called?
Water
And so
Yeah,
he had
water
taken a
Jin.
A
human.
Marid, you just
yeah.
fought one.
Yes,
Yeah.
that kind of thing, and that he had taken a
A
human
Marid.
form.
Oh, he said it. A Marid.
And
I
had-
go, isn't that a Marid? I
'cause
just
they can
realized
do
Matt
that.
said it.
And that's
you
why
guys
I thought
told
he
me
was
about the
human
different forms
skin
of
tone. I didn't even think
genies.
about
A Jin
that
is
it could be any other type of
Right,
character that would
right.
be her
A different
father.
one.
And when I passed it off to Matt, so I was totally blown away that it could be the gentleman. I was like, oh, I didn't even put that together. Oh my gosh, it could be the gentleman.
All
yeah,
right,
so
she's
really
kind of going through
really
her
cool.
Man,
mindset. Dig it.
thanks for giving that scoop.
My favorite
and
part
the-
of
and
the
we were-
episode comes
Yeah,
at
when
the
we
end.
were
starting to feel
designing
like
the,
Jester's really cool.
Yeah, when we were designing.
I mean, the
Showing you.
Orly stuff was really good. This was a
When
very
we
good
were,
episode. We got a taste of
designing
the
the
ruby and
character,
the
and we were
sapphire.
getting different iterations of
with
it.
Orly
She had sent
and episode
different
34.
versions of Jester's tail, maybe having cool watery fish
Yeah.
fin things on the
Yeah.
tail instead of a normal tiefling tail.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah, but I thought that would be a little more
Honestly,
specific. So
She could have been a
I
great
agree with the-
Sequest
with the call.
character. Remember Sequest?
Sequest and Sequest DSV.
we
right?
received
Fucking
the
loved
call.
Sequest.
wait, was that the one? Was Jonathan Brandis?
Yes,
Yes.
you're goddamn right it was.
Such a crush on Jonathan.
I know.
Huge crush on Jonathan.
Really?
Brandis. Oh yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, he did.
I know.
I know. I remember when it happened.
Thanks, Chris.
We're talking about crushing a lot.
What a fucking ass. Jesus Christ, Lockie. I hope none of the fucking microphones pick that up. Oh my God. Well, that's all the time we have for tonight.
Oh my God.
At Chris
Love
Lockie
it.
and ask him what the fuck just happened. Stick around for Talks Machina After Dark, which is on Alpha. Critical Role episode 35 airs this week.
Love it. I'm watching
I would like to thank
35
Laura
after
and
I
Matt
do
for joining
Alpha
me
Talk.
tonight,
I'm going to do
and Baby
the last
Ronan,
4
special guest
episodes
star.
of
Unfortunately,
After
the show
Hours
does
Alpha
not
Talk.
give out
Then
any residuals
part
until
1, episode 35.
next week. Don't forget to love each other, and don't worry, it's almost Thursday. Stay sharp, my friends.
I rewound it to hear what Chris Lockie said because I couldn't hear and you could barely hear him. I don't think we could hear him. It is so muffled in the background and he's not mic'd up. Chris Lockie has been brought up other times as well, but I feel like he's not always there. Usually it's Max and Danny. I feel like Danny's mom is now part of it. Chris Lockie said a comment. I think he said, yeah, then that character died or something like that. It had to be something referencing that because right after makes a comment and says, yeah, it's really sad how that happened. And then Laura goes like, yeah, thanks for bringing that shit up. And then Brian goes off. Brian is like, I know it's all in good fun and they're clearly joking. But he goes like, go email Chris Lockie, that fucking asshole, ruin. And like he is cursing up a storm. I love how they interact with each other. It's always hilarious. I feel like Brian, they must all have that kind of relationship because if they didn't, then Brian would be coming off very abusive. But I feel like they equally give it to each other, and that is why it's okay, and that is why it looks like Brian is okay with doing it. For him to be giving it to them like that, he must get it back after the show. This is just his time to shine because he is the host. We got a lot of interesting questions this episode. One of my favorite Talks Machina episodes. We got a lot about Orly. We had one of the best fan arts I've seen to date, maybe one of my favorite. It's got to be in the top 10. There are 34 episodes. It's easily in the top 10. I would probably say my top 5. I know there's a Molly one that I really enjoyed. There's a couple that stand out in my mind. That one, though, was really well done. Very realistic looking. If you were to be a turtle in this world, he was tatted up. He had the bagpipe things coming out of the shell, the patch. Everything about Orly is great. I'm happy that a majority of the questions were about it. We even got Laura Bailey, so we got to dive back into the Ruby and the Sea. We got to know about why she does act the way she does. I said in the beginning, and I don't really care one way or the other, I said it multiple times, how it doesn't really faze me. I just never met anyone in my life that talks about their mother or father, I guess you could say, to me, it's almost in a sexual manner. If you say your mother's hot, now it could just be the lingo and the way you talk and the way she was brought up, and that's how she describes it, and it all honestly makes sense. She was grown up very sheltered. She grew up with very limited people around her. She knew what her mother did. She was proud of her mother, so she just kind of runs with it. She even said now she gets it and understands it because she's older and she's experienced the world. But I just feel like Jester doesn't care. It makes her happy. She wants to act that way. She doesn't care what other people think. If I'm happy, then screw you if you don't like the way I talk. And I totally dig it. The only reason I point it out is because I just feel like if she now is acknowledging that it's odd, that maybe it just looks weird to people. But like I said, I guess you just don't care. Like, you don't like the way I act? Don't friggin' be around me. It's totally a way to be. So I get it. There is a lot of questions that I've thought about over the course of time that aren't even related to this episode necessarily. He talks about, or I guess someone asked the question, is it weird to be with your significant others and still flirting and forming relationships possibly with other people? I would think in this scenario, no, I don't think it would get awkward or weird because everyone has been friends for so long. They all respect each other and they're professionals. They do this for a living. Like they said, they act, they do stuff. They have to do scenes, I'm sure, with kissing and romanticism with other people. And these are their friends. So obviously, it's a safe place. But I said it during the episode, I could easily see, which they wouldn't do, there's no reason to, but if they took a complete stranger that no one knew and infused them into a campaign, and now you're rolling for months or years, there could be like feelings that form. Not that I'm saying people would cheat on their significant others or anything like that. I just feel like because of their dynamic and the way things are, it would never happen. And they'd never have that happen because there's no need to bring complete strangers they don't know. They bring friends on, they bring guests on. All that to me is professionalism and friendship and everything is great. But I could definitely see if you took, like you did an experiment, and you took 8 random strangers off the street and you threw them into a campaign for 3 years, I could easily see those people forming real relationships just based on the interactions they have. But that's a totally different topic. I just enjoyed all the questions, the way they answered them and everything. Matt is aces. Laura is one of my favorite, if not favorite people. I'm happy we have her back. I'm happy she's doing good. She's not sick anymore. I'm jumping into Alpha Talks. We're going to do all 4 episodes, the last 4 episodes in a row. I tried it where I watched them after the episode and then splice them all together. I just feel like it's better for the recap and it's better to just watch it in one swift motion. So we're going to jump in. You guys want to see more of what I do? Full unedited episodes, all the shows on the channel, seasons out of what you're seeing. Hundreds of exclusives you'll only see on Patreon. The link is in front of me. Dozens of shows you'll never see on YouTube. I just don't have time to edit it all. Doctor Who, Person of Interest, Patreon Hour exclusive, Steven Universe, Infinity Train, Centaur World, and My Little Pony 5. All started. One Punch Man, too. We started One Punch Man. All these different shows exclusive to Patreon. Check it out. If not, comments down below. Like and subscribe. And I'll see you guys on the next one. Peace.